Environment Minister Deon George remains optimistic that a climate finance deal will be clinched at COP29, 29, where negotiations are currently ongoing. George just gave an update at the South African Pavilion about the latest outcomes of the negotiations at the conference. Newzroom Afrika's Mweli Masilela is following the developments in Baku, Azerbaijan, and joins me now live. A very good afternoon to you, Mweli. What is on the agenda specifically for the African continent?
Quite a lot that is being discussed, and the impact of climate change in many African countries, both on the issue of agriculture, the issue of water scarcity. Those are some of the topics that were discussed here at the South African delegation. Of course, there are some people who are coming from different countries so that the two parties can exchange some notes. But we have just had now an update from the Minister of the Environment, Deon George, saying that these negotiations are indeed tough, as someone who has been attending quite a number of panel discussions. And also the biggest concern coming from some of the participants is that according also to the minister who was with the American delegation today, he has confirmed that Donald Trump has confirmed that he will withdraw from this treaty, which is one of the most important treaty in as far as climate change is concerned. But also, Masa, looking into the issue of financing, that's the key focus at the present moment. South Africa is saying that at least there must be $1.3 trillion made available per annum for countries, especially those that are still developing, to be able to mitigate climate change, and also for repairing some of those damages that have been caused by climate change. And the wealthy countries, including those countries like America and China, are considered to be the main contributors in as far as emission is concerned. In fact, the G20 countries contribute about 80% of the global emissions. So that's the issue, to say that they must be the ones who are actually financing those countries that are still developing. But of course, also speaking to the chief negotiator representing South Africa here in this delegation, he did mention that as much as the negotiations are tough, Africa is united.
Africa is always united. Remember, South Africa is part of the Africa group, and we assist the group with a lot of areas where we lead. Those areas, be adaptation, be finance. We lead these thematic areas within the Africa group. So Africa has always been the strongest group in these negotiations, simply because of its unity. We are one continent facing similar challenges. We have coordination mechanisms at lead coordinators, the focal points, the ministerial, what you call AMSEN, and within the AU, we've got what you call Committee of Heads of States and Government, CAHOS. So Africa really coordinate well, and it come here with coordinated messaging and positions. And of course, we meet daily in the morning to provide updates, and we meet during the day to coordinate on whatever versions of the text that is available.
So, Masa, that's Masilela, who is the chief negotiator for South Africa. And of course, he's saying that at the present moment, as I've said earlier, there's still no agreement in as far as how much money should be made available by the developed economies to assist those countries that are struggling. And until those numbers come out, it will be very difficult to say whether there will be a way forward in as far as the climate finance deal is concerned. But of course, as much as there are those challenges, the Minister of the Environment as well as the chief negotiator, they remain positive that something will perhaps come out. Let's take a listen in terms of what Masilela had to say.
I've not seen the numbers, but we've been assured that the numbers will come. What we don't like is that they say the numbers will come last minute. You see, the last minute part is what we are not happy with, because if we know the number now, that will unlock many other issues that are still ongoing. But because of that, everybody is holding back a little bit to see how those NCQG discussions are going. So what we are doing now is to prepare packages in all these areas, packages on mitigation, packages on adaptation, packages on response measures. So when the number comes, then you can adjust those packages.
So, Masa, we will learn at a later stage as to what happens, because as we know, this conference is scheduled to come to a close on Friday. So there's that pressure. Even earlier today, as well as yesterday, we saw some climate activists protesting here at the venue, saying that they are not happy with the delays about the issue of financing. So that is a main factor at the present moment, in as far as the discussions and engagements are concerned here at COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan.
Mweli, Masilela, thank you so much for that update.